Hello my friends, today's video was supposed to be all about my luxury wish list for 2023, but as I was going through my wish list, I had to realize that there just aren't that many pieces that I am dying to get my hands on. So we will still look at some of the pieces that I'm eyeing, because who doesn't love some luxury eye candy? But I wanted to take this time more importantly to discuss my new approach to luxury, some of the trends that I have been noticing, and why I think a lot of people slow down on their luxury consumption. And I also wanted to share with you why I think it's so important for you to have a wish list, even if you're not going to make an entire video on it, how to make sure that the pieces that you do invest in are actually the right pieces for you. So if this sounds interesting to you and you'd like to have just a good old chat about anything and everything luxury, then make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet, and keep on watching. You guys might have noticed that I really haven't done as many unboxings and as haul videos as I did in previous years, and I'm not saying I didn't do any, because I did buy a beautiful bag from Hermes earlier this year. I did unbox a few things that I bought in London, so I am still shopping. I am by no means on a no buy, but I feel like I haven't been doing really that much shopping for the past couple of years, which a part of that was a conscious effort to become a more responsible consumer. But also I think a lot of things have changed, and I don't think I'm alone in saying this. In fact, I was at an Hermes party last week with a friend, and we were talking to some of the people working at Hermes, and they too said that they have noticed a big change not only in their regular customers but also in their VIP big spenders, who in previous years and previous seasons would have gone into the store and cleared shelves. Obviously those customers still shop, but they don't really shop the way they used to, and I'm sure a lot of it is everything that's going on in the economy and everything that's going on with finance. I completely understand that, but in general I don't think that consumption and overconsumption is as trendy as it once was. I stopped consuming really luxury YouTube, I would say, a couple of years ago, when I started doing YouTube a lot more seriously. And it's not because I don't love some of the creators out there. I think there are some amazing luxury YouTubers who you should follow, but personally, because I do film these videos for you guys, I edit them myself. I feel like if I also consumed luxury social media, it would just be a lot, and that's what my entire life would be about. But obviously I still watch YouTube, so sometimes as I'm browsing looking for something new to watch, I would see a luxury video pop up, sometimes from a friend of mine who does YouTube. But I really haven't noticed as many big unboxings. I feel like there was a point in time when everyone did these huge, gigantic unboxings and whole videos. I really haven't seen as many of them, and I'm sure people still do them. Maybe it's just the people that I follow, but I don't think it's as popular as it once was. Personally, I haven't done that many big unboxings, and I feel like you guys don't mind if you do. Please let me know in the comment section, but I never ever bought anything just for the sake of it. I never wanted to buy something just to show off on YouTube. Maybe if I did, it would make me a lot more popular, but I feel like I want to bring you genuine content and show you pieces that I would personally feel comfortable spending my own money on, and I'm not just buying it to show it off on YouTube. So for me, I think it was a big trend that I am not spending as much, and I'm not simply consuming as much luxury as I used to, which is perhaps because I'm pretty happy with my collection. You guys know that I am not a traditional collector. I'm not one of those people who gets joy out of owning things. What really makes me happy is being able to use the pieces that I actually have. I'm not someone who dreams of having a wall full of bags or jewelry or clothes. I want to make sure that the pieces that I do have and I spend my hard-earned money on, I can actually take advantage of and be able to use, which is also a big part of sustainability, which I do think is something that we should all consider and we should be conscious of. But I think when it comes to fashion, a lot of people get sustainability wrong, and they think I am only a sustainable consumer if I buy things from green labels. In my opinion, that's just simply not the case, and I am, of course, by no means an expert on the topic, but what sustainability is to me is that if you invest in pieces, regardless of the price tag, that you know you're going to be able to use and take advantage of for years and decades to come. And obviously, if you can buy pieces that are ethically made and ethically sourced, that is always ideal. But if you mainly shop from Zara or H&M, I think you can still be a more conscious and more responsible consumer by not overbuying and buying something new that ends up in the landfill every season. Make sure that you only buy things that you know you are going to get your money's worth out of, things that will bring you joy and things that you can care for. I don't think you have to strictly buy luxury to be considered a conscious consumer. And I have to be honest with you, I am pretty content with my collection at this point. I was just thinking about this the other day. You know, there was a point in time when I would go to Hermes once a week or every other week and I would end up with something, which I don't know if I could do at this point. And it's not because I don't love the brand. I mean, I'm definitely in a phase of discovering some other understated luxury brands just because Hermes' most recent launches didn't personally speak to me. But I honestly couldn't do it just because my collection, it's not that it's that big that there isn't anything out there that I don't own. But, you know, back in the day, I was trying to build my tableware collection. I was buying ready to wear, I was buying basics and foundation pieces, which at this point I all own. I mean, how many more black bags can I buy? How many more different mugs can I possibly need? How many more rings can I add to my collection when I'm not even able to take advantage of the pieces that I already own? So I feel like I've been buying luxury long enough that I am pretty content with all the pieces that I do own at this point, and I completely understand if you're at the beginning of your luxury journey, whether you're focusing on Hermes or another brand, there is a lot for you to choose from out there, but I am so content with the pieces that I already have. And again, it would probably make me a lot more popular if I was constantly buying new stuff and adding things to my collection on a weekly basis, but I just don't feel the need to do so. So maybe you're in the same boat, maybe you've been buying luxury for a really long time. There is no need for you to constantly consume, and I understand that there's a lot of pressure for us to keep up with the latest trends, for us to always have the latest and greatest. But before you buy something new, just really take the time and think to yourself, is this something that will actually make me happy? Is this something that will fill a gap in my collection? Is this something that I have been needing? Or am I just buying it because there isn't anything better to buy? Am I just buying this because someone else has it and I'm just trying to keep up with the Joneses, which I honestly don't even know who the Joneses are at this point. So really take the time to think if something would bring you joy or if you're only just buying it because you saw it on someone in a social media post. So for me, it's really not something that I care about at this point, and it might just be the phase that I'm currently in because I mean, let's be honest, I'm a single dog dad who works from home, so there aren't that many places that I go to these days where I would have to dress up. But I also feel like that the pieces that I already have just make me incredibly happy, and I really enjoy being in this phase of being able to take advantage of the things that I already have and not constantly running after what's new and what's going to be next on my wish list or what's going to be the next piece that I add to my collection. And I also have to add that there just aren't that many pieces that inspire me at this point. I feel like there really isn't anything new under the sun. Most brands have been doing the same things over and over and over again. Here I'm talking about Dior, talking about Hermes, talking about even Chanel, which I mean, I almost said that I'm talking about some of my favorite brands. Obviously, Chanel is an exception, but I used to love Dior's tailoring pieces. I used to love Hermes's ready-to-wear and jewelry, but I feel like they really haven't come out with anything revolutionary in quite a long time, or at least nothing that really speaks to me. And even the things that I really appreciate the look of are not things that I feel like would suit me personally. So I just wanted to have this quick chat with you guys and share my thoughts on this idea of luxury consumption and being a more conscious luxury consumer, which I have been working on. Obviously, some of it was a conscious effort, but really the rest was just how things have worked out for me. But I would love to know your thoughts on this whole idea. Are you shopping as much as you used to? Are you really not buying as much as you did in previous years? And there's no shame if you're buying a lot or if you're not buying anything. I'm just genuinely curious to hear your thoughts and your take on this topic because I think it's something that should be discussed, and obviously on luxury YouTube everyone's talking about what's next and what we're going to be buying next, but I think it's okay to talk about slowing down for a quick second. And now that we have just talked about not buying anything, I wanted to share with you some of the pieces that I have been eyeing. And by no means am I saying that I'm going to be adding any one of these pieces to my collection. Some of these things I am a lot more serious about than others, or it's not that I'm serious, but some of these things I do think actually fill a gap in my collection. So I am much more likely to add these to my collection. And then others are just some eye candy that, at one point I would potentially consider adding to my collection, but it's not like it was in previous years where everything that I shared I was working towards getting. This time these are things that I like and I may or may not pick up at one point, and I would definitely recommend that you create yourself a wish list. I think that is one of the best ways to avoid making any impulse purchases and buying things that you really don't need. What I would recommend that you do is that you go through your own collection. You can do this seasonally. That's what I try to do, and see if there are any gaps in your collection that need to be filled. Are there any pieces that have seen better days that need to be upgraded or exchanged to something new? Is there something that you have been wearing a lot but it's perhaps not the best quality, it's not the most pricey piece in your collection, and it's worth spending a little bit more money on just because you love and enjoy it so much? Or it's perfectly fine to just say, look, I'm perfectly happy with this piece that, let's say, is from H&M or Zara. There's no point spending any more money on it because I feel like it's something that I will go through anyway, and I just refresh it with the same thing again. I mean, I would personally suggest that you buy something of a little bit of higher quality. It doesn't necessarily have to be more expensive. You can buy something pre-loved, but I am a big advocate of investing in quality, and quality doesn't have to cost you your firstborn. But personally, I think if you invest in good quality pieces that are nicely made, pieces that are made of beautiful fabrics, things that are nicely tailored, they will immediately upgrade your entire collection and an entire look, no matter what pieces you style with it. So I am someone who's willing to spend on designer ready to wear, mainly because of the cuts, the fits, and the tailoring. I know it's not the most popular opinion, but that's what I personally think. But anyway, having a wish list I think is so important, because impulse buying things just because you saw something on social media, because you are having a bad day, or because there isn't anything else for you to do out there, is the quickest way to waste a ton of money. Okay, this first thing shouldn't even be on here because this is not technically a wish list piece. I mean, it was, but I ended up ordering it, which is a new pair of Celine sneakers. I did buy my Celine sneakers, was it late last year, early this year? Something like that. I will make sure to leave my unboxing of the Celine sneakers up here, and I have been living in those sneakers. I mean, you guys know me, I'm not the biggest shoe person, and when I find something that's comfortable, and that goes with most things, it usually is some take on a white sneaker. I will wear them until they fall apart, but I do have to say that I'm a lot better at looking after my white sneakers, and the Celine ones I have been really enjoying. So I did end up ordering a new take on them, which is extremely similar to the pair that I already have, but instead of them being all white, they actually feature this really cool kind of transparent rubber sole, which I actually think will make them a lot easier to look after. And then the other piece from Celine, which I think I discovered the same time I found these sneakers, is actually a piece of fine jewelry. A little known fact, but Celine creates some beautiful fine jewelry pieces, and the collection that I love the most is, I think it's called the Sentimental collection, which is just a really beautiful, understated, refined minimalist collection. And there's this one piece that I have been eyeing ever since I saw it, which is a really simple chain that features this beautiful single baguette cut diamond, which I saw in London and completely fell in love with. But I'm really not that big of a necklace person. I mean, I do own, how many necklaces do I own? I don't own that many of them. The one that I wear most often is the one from Hermes, but I am not currently wearing it. I am more of a ring person at this point, so I figured, what's the point of buying another necklace when I'm not really enjoying the pieces that I already have? But that might be something that I add to my collection later on. Maybe if I need to get myself a little reward, a little treat, that is something that I would certainly consider. So it is not being removed from my wish list. It is something that is staying on here, and I definitely wanted to put it on your radar in case you are looking to expand your luxury fine jewelry collection. Definitely don't overlook Celine. Moving on to a brand that I understand isn't going to be everyone's cup of tea, but I am very much in the cult of the Row. It doesn't matter what they come out with. It can be the most basic, simple black t-shirt. They will make me believe that it is the most beautiful thing that I have ever seen. I don't know what it is about the Row that I love so much, but I just genuinely am obsessed with anything and everything that they do. So there are 3 things that I'm currently eyeing from the brand, one of which is definitely coming home with me. I'm not going to buy it now, but for fall winter, this is being added to my collection, which is their take on a really simple cashmere vest, which you can of course wear over other pieces as a layering piece, but you could definitely wear it on its own. I did buy something similar, well, not really similar, but it's also a vest from Thom Browne. But what I love about this, and something that is quite hard to find, especially for men, is buying a vest that features a crew neck. And I'm not sure why that is, but most vests that are made for men feature a v-neck, which, I mean, I guess it makes sense. If you wear a tie or a shirt, a v-neck is a lot more flattering, but personally, I just don't think that it looks good on me. And this vest is actually made for women, but I mean, that's never stopped me before. So that is a piece that I'm adding to my collection. And then another piece that I have been eyeing, which I actually tried in London, not last time I was there, but the time before, which I did share in my shopping vlog. So I will make sure to have that video linked up here, is a staple piece from the Row, and it's their so-called Malik coat, which is something that they do bring back every once in a while. It's a really simple, classic, beautiful double-faced wool coat, which actually does come in 3 different versions, so you can pick it up in a wool cashmere mix, they call it, but it's not really a mix. I think it's mainly wool with just a touch of cashmere. Then you can pick it up in a more of a 50-50 split, which does make the coat a lot more expensive. I think it takes it from being around $3,000 to being $6,000. And then you can also pick it up in 100% cashmere, which makes this coat almost $10,000. So if you love the look of this coat, there are several different fabrics that you can choose from. I personally would not feel comfortable recommending that you spend nearly $10,000 on a coat from the Row when you can buy the same thing for a lot less. I think the mainly wool version starts at around $3,000, and then you jump up to almost $10,000 if you decide to pick it up in 100% cashmere. But if you're a big cashmere person, just know that that is also an option. But if you're looking for a really simple but really beautifully refined and cut coat that you're going to have in your collection for decades to come, this might be something that you want to look into. And then the last piece from the Row that I'm eyeing is actually another bag, which I know it was not controversial, but a lot of people wondered why I ended up buying up a bag from the Row when I complained about their quality for a long time. And that's because something has changed. I'm not sure what it is, but the more recent Row pieces that I have played around with felt a lot more well thought out, a lot more refined and well put together than some of the leather pieces that I saw in the past. So I am open to adding some more Row pieces to my collection. And there is this really simple duffel bag that I am eyeing, which I believe is called the Geo duffel bag, which is this really simple clean cut minimal look, exactly what you would expect from the Row. And it's made of this beautiful buttery soft pebbled leather. It kind of reminds me slightly of the Victoria bag from Hermes, and I think it is a piece that I would be able to take advantage of because I have been carrying my Row poly bag to the gym, which update I am still very much obsessed with, and it is definitely one of my most used bags. I mean, I'm not really wearing or carrying anything else other than the Row poly bag, so that's why I'm open to adding another one to my collection. And the Row poly bag is just incredible. I have been carrying it to the gym, but I could use something just a little bit larger. Maybe if I'm going away for the weekend, maybe if I need to carry more things with me, I could have the option of a larger duffel bag. And what I love about the Row bags is that a lot of them feature a longer shoulder strap, so you can comfortably put them on your shoulder regardless of how thick your coat is, which makes sense because one of the things that the Row is most well known for is their coats, so it makes sense that it's something that they would keep in mind. But if you are looking for a really simple, stripped down but really nicely crafted duffel bag, the Geo duffel might be something that you also want to put on your radar. There are 2 pieces from Louis Vuitton, believe it or not, that I am thinking about adding to my collection. One of them I'm definitely not buying unless I find it at an amazing price on the pre-loved market. But you know, something that I have been eyeing for years now is a Louis Vuitton trunk, one of their classic trunks in 110 centimeters, mainly to use. I was thinking about using it either as a bench in front of my bed or as a coffee table in my living room. And I looked at it several times, but I just cannot bring myself to spend this much money at Louis Vuitton. I don't care how good of an investment it is. I don't care how much these pieces go up every single year. I cannot justify spending this much money on a piece of Louis Vuitton, no matter how beautiful the quality is, which it is. I mean, that's what Louis Vuitton does best, their trunks. But it is not something that I am really prioritizing right now. But something else that I am currently open to buying is a fragrance from Louis Vuitton, because speaking of the row, I did buy their insanely priced fragrance oil, which I love the scent of. But I have to be honest with you, they really don't last. And for, I think it was, my fragrance was nearly £600 for that tiny little bottle, which does make it, if you consider how much a single milliliter costs, one of the most expensive fragrances out there. For that kind of money, you would expect it to last, and it really doesn't. I mean, I was out with friends for an entire day and I kept asking them, can you smell my fragrance? Can you smell my fragrance? And no one could smell my fragrance. So it wasn't just that I got used to my own scent, it's genuinely that it disappears off of your skin too fast for the price. So while I love the scent, it's not something that I would repurchase ever again. So I am looking for a new signature scent, and I feel like Louis Vuitton scents are always really interesting. They're quite dark and leathery. I think leather note is something that they have in every single one of their fragrances. I have not had the chance to give them a proper sniff and decide which scent that I want, but I remember at one point trying, I think it was called something Nomad. But if you have any recommendations for me, if you are familiar with their range of fragrances, please leave them in the comment section for me, because it's something that I would like to look into. So Louis Vuitton scent is definitely being added to my little fragrance collection this year. And of course, no wishlist of mine can be complete without at least a couple of pieces from Hermes. So what am I currently hunting for? I think I mentioned this in a previous video of mine. I did order 2 looks from the runway for fall winter, which I'm not sure when and if they'll be delivered, because Hermes's pre-ordering process is really not as straightforward as it is with other brands. They don't ask you for a deposit, and they don't guarantee that your pieces will actually arrive or that they'll even make it into production, at least not with the boutiques that I shopped with. In the past, it was a lot easier. You could ask for a look if you were a decent client, and it was almost guaranteed that they'll be delivered. But these days, it is a lot tougher. The way it works is that Hermes, usually I think each season they have about 5 to 7 colorways, they call them, which can be different shades of colors. And if your boutique only buys, pieces from 3 or 4 of the colorways, and you order things from other colorways, they won't actually get those other colorways into their boutiques, because they have to keep in mind merchandising and how things will look when they get put on display. So if there are 7 different colorways or 5, and your boutique is only able to buy 3 of them, and you order things, you're the only person who orders things from the other colorways, that's one of the reasons your pre-order can be turned down. It's also possible that the things that you ordered never actually made it into production. They were only really made for the runway, or no other boutique ordered them, or not enough boutiques bought them for a mess to buy the raw materials and take the time to make these pieces in bulk. So there are several different things that can go wrong. There are 2 looks that I ordered, which I don't think I shared, and I didn't want to. I wanted to keep it a surprise, but at this point, who knows if they'll arrive. The piece that I am most excited for, and I'm really hoping that I'm able to get, is this cardigan that features this really cool silk detail, and then I also ordered the matching pants, and I think I'm going to keep the other look a secret for now, and I want to surprise you with it, hopefully, when they arrive. You can probably guess what color they're in, so fingers crossed that black is a colorway that my boutique is going to be getting. And then there are 2 bags. Well, there are technically 3 bags that I was eyeing. One of them I am definitely not buying. It's something that launched earlier this year. It's something that I was asked about when it first launched, but I turned it down because of the price, which is the HAC phone case. It's basically this really cool, almost hard shell trunk, which is quite unique for Hermes to do, that features the HAC closure. It's something that was specifically designed to fit your phone and a single credit card because it does come with a single credit card slot, which I loved. It does feature an adjustable shoulder strap, but I could not justify the price for something that really only fits your phone. Not to mention that my phone never really leaves my hands, so it's not something that I would actually use to carry my phone, because I think it was somewhere between 36 and 3700 euros, which to me was just way too much money to spend on a phone case, even though it is a really cool phone case. So it is something that was on my wish list. It is something that I was potentially considering, but at this point I can tell you, yeah, I am not going to be buying it. And then there are two other bags. I was trying to think, if I was to place another Hermes wish for another bag, what would it be? And I would say that I would probably place a wish for another Kelly Pochette, which I don't know, I'm kind of torn. Like, if I had to place a wish for something, that's what I would do. But honestly, I just have not been drawn to really any of my bags, but especially not my smaller bags. I don't feel like that at this stage, in this phase of my life, they suit me. And it's perhaps because I'm changing, my proportions are changing, my priorities are, but I really have not been carrying any one of my smaller bags. The only bag that I ever really carry these days, or the only two, are my poly bag from the row and my her bag. So it's not really a priority for me, but if I had to put in a wish for something, I think it would be a Kelly Pochette. Mainly, I mean, it would have to be in Swift, but I would love it in, I mean, my dream bag, my dream Pochette would be a Kelly Pochette in Swift, which is so incredibly hard to find. Honestly, it would be an overstatement to say that they are rare. They're genuinely so incredibly limited. But if they ask me what bag would you like, or if they ask me to place an a la carte bag, a special order bag, and suede was an option in a Kelly Pochette, that's definitely what I would order, because it is the most beautiful bag that I have ever seen. Would I carry it a lot? Probably not, because as I said, I am changing, my taste is changing. I don't know, I'm just changing as a person. I'm really not drawn to my small bags at this point. I mean, I couldn't tell you the last time I carried a small bag out, other than my Kelly wallets, because those are pieces that I still very much enjoy. So I could potentially consider adding another Kelly wallet to my collection. I don't know what leather or what color I would pick it up in, but that's something that I would certainly be open to. So if I ever come across one that's in a unique finish or unique color or unique leather, it's something that I would not say no to. But I think my next bag from Hermes is going to be something that has been, I mean, it hasn't been on my wish list for that long, but it's something, it's the first Hermes bag that I ever fell in love with, which is the so-called Double Suns bag. It's a bag that I saw 10 years ago at the airport in Paris, and at the time it was way too expensive for me to buy. I mean, back then this bag was, I think, 1900 euros, and I was still like, I think I was I freshman in college, or I was just about to go to college, something along those lines. So it was way too expensive for me and I could not afford to buy it. And I never picked it up. I don't know why that is, but it is a bag that I would certainly consider. Now, I don't think that I would get this bag from Hermes, just because it's so not only rare, but they really don't make too much of it. I don't think this bag is technically discontinued, but if I ask for this at Hermes, it would probably take, I mean, a decade to find, not because there is so much demand for it, but just because they really don't make that much of it. When there are so many of them out there in the pre-loved market. I was so serious about getting this bag that when I went to London to pick up my poly bag, I was going to go to, I think, was it Christie's, that had one of these bags at their London office, and I said to myself that if I don't buy the poly bag, I'm gonna go and buy the Double Suns bag instead. But you know that I ended up with the poly bag, so I never ended up getting the Double Suns bag. But it is something that I would love to hunt down this year, because I genuinely think that it is a bag that I would be able to take advantage of. If you have never heard me talk about the Double Suns bag, it is a really cool oversized tote bag that does come in several different sizes, and the idea is that it's made of two different but complementary leathers on each side, and it's completely reversible. So depending on what color you're in the mood for, you can reverse your bag and you basically get a 2-in-1. Now, what might take me a little bit of time is to find this in a color combination that I do enjoy, because you guys know that I like to stick to black and darker shades, and most of the Double Suns bag out there are made of some really cool, vibrant, colorful shades, and I wouldn't mind if one of the sides was a little bit more colorful, but I do need one of them to be either black, a dark chocolate brown, maybe even gold. I would consider graphite would be a perfect shade. So the double suns is definitely something that I am eyeing, and I think after 10 years of lusting after it, it's about time that I finally add it to my collection. Well, my friends, this completes today's really chatty video. I think we covered so many different things, from luxury consumption through luxury trends, all the way to my current lust list. Let's just call it that. I would love for you to join the conversation and let us know what you're thinking, where you're at in your luxury journey. Are you buying less than you used to? Are you still buying the same amount? Are you inspired by a lot of the new launches? I would love to know where you're at. I always love reading your insights and your feedback. And I hope you enjoyed hearing my wish list. Please let me know if there's anything that you're eyeing. And if you own any one of the pieces that I mentioned, I would love to know your experience with them. And while you're down there, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't done so yet. I really appreciate you being here and watching, and I hope to see you back here with a new video really soon.